To Ryan Day's credit, the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes took the high road whenever making his first public statements since now former running backs coach Tony Alford left the program last week to take the same job with arch rival Michigan. He said in part, quote, "Everyone has to make decisions for themselves and their family. We're not going to focus on that too much." I'll tell you one thing, if Day is able to hire a certain standout former Oklahoma running back to replace Alford, probably not going to get the same dignified kind of answer coming out of Norman. Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football's Sooner Magic podcast. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, particularly Oklahoma football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame College Football's Sooner Magic podcast. Would DeMarco Murray really leave his alma mater, where he was a superstar and is beloved, to take the same running backs coach position at Ohio State? Hey guys, before we jump into the topics for the day, I just wanted to take a moment to shout out our partners at Hall of Fame College Football, Mint Mobile. Look, I am super grateful for this partnership with Mint Mobile because, let's be serious, if you're anything like me, you're overpaying for your wireless service. But with Mint Mobile, you can get everything you get with big wireless, aside from the big price tag, for as low as $15 a month. Speed, coverage, data, 5G access, mobile hotspot. It's all available right there on Mint Mobile and for way less than you're used to paying at your big wireless carrier. How do they do it? They basically just reimagined the entire wireless experience. They made it simple because they made it online. No more going down to big wireless's store and dealing with a pushy salesperson, having to wait in a long line to do so. Everything you do with Mint Mobile is right through its app on the phone that you already own. You can literally go and purchase your service from the phone that you have and activate it right now. TryMintMobile.com/HOF is our partner link. And if you sign up today, you can get 3 months of unlimited talk, text, and data for just $45. That's $15 a month. If you could get it with big wireless, you can get it right here on Mint Mobile. Check it out and thank me later. If DeMarco Murray had not already established himself as one of the more beloved figures, at least in recent Oklahoma Sooner football history, with his career in Norman, the first couple of years as the running backs coach for the Sooners almost certainly did. How big a hit would that legacy take if the former All-American for the Sooners were to bail on Brent Venables now, just to make a lateral move and become the running backs coach for Ryan Day's Ohio State Buckeyes? I think it's a fair question to ask, and I'm not so sure that it's as cut and dried that he wouldn't take it as a lot of people might be telling you. Look, I definitely understand any PTSD that may still be there a little bit after the way that we watched Lincoln Riley leave the Sooners in the middle of the night in 2021 to take the head coaching position at USC and a Heisman Trophy winner with him at that. But as much as I do not feel like this is the same thing, particularly in view of the fact that it's more out in the open that DeMarco is in the running for this position, we still haven't even heard from him out loud that he is considering the job. So look, I could sit here and give you all the reasons that, all the other Oklahoma creators are giving you for why there's no way that DeMarco would leave and take a lateral position and kind of stick it to his own alma mater that way, to Coach Venables that way. I could give you all those reasons. And truth be told, I don't know that I believe that he's going anywhere. There's been a couple of reports, mostly though just coming straight from 247 and the Bucknuts web saying that he's on the list. They did report it for a second day in a row though on Tuesday. That being said, as I said, I don't know that I really believe that he is going. But I think that, to be fair, we should at least maybe outline why he could go. Okay? And it's not necessarily anything bad towards Oklahoma, but the truth is there's some perception things that, we talked about it on the live show last night. There's some perception things that could kind of work in his favor if he were to go and continue recruiting at the level that he is, which, if you weren't paying attention earlier in the day on Tuesday, they're also Oklahoma and DeMarco are also trending for Torrey Blaylock, the 5-star running back out of the Houston area. Blaylock, of course, announced on Tuesday as well that he will be making his decision on March 29th between a list of schools that's been cut to 6 and includes Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Oregon, Tennessee, and Texas, all of which, would be premier destinations. Ohio State would almost certainly jump to the forefront if DeMarco was indeed taking this job. Now, is he really even interviewing for the position? Well, he hasn't come out and said that he isn't. And although we don't have a ton of people corroborating what Bucknut said, you would think that he would probably have come out and said so. But again, let's go through a couple of the reasons why he might take the position, just so that you wouldn't be overly surprised if he did, okay? Look, and I don't think that it would be anything. First, I just want to say this. I don't think that it would have anything to do with, trying to hurt his own alma mater. He loves Oklahoma. Oklahoma loves him. We established that. But you start thinking about things in terms of a lot of guys, Jay was talking about it earlier on Unfair Sports, that a lot of this coaching staff have gotten pay raises and promotions within the staff this year because of the fact that they have been pursued by other programs around the country. Now, as much as people hate this, and, I remember Sooner Cowboys was saying this on the live last night, that, man, I hate this, that so many people they're trying to come in and do this, and they have been since Coach Venables got to town. This is the nature of the beast these days, guys. And if anything, it's better to have your coaches on big-time programs list to be hired than it is for nobody to call them ever whenever a job opens up. But listen, it is college football, and those are the kind of things that make this sport go. Ohio State certainly doesn't have any love for Oklahoma after one Baker Mayfield planted a flag at the center of the field at the shoe a few years back. So there could be that as well. But again, I'm not saying that that's what that is. I'm just, throwing stuff out there. Look, in the end, there is a couple of reasons why you might question whether he could take this position, okay? I know it's been on everybody's mind. You've got people on Twitter, one side saying there's no way he goes anywhere. I think I've been more in that camp than anything else. The other side saying, I don't know. The Texas folks would love it if a Sooner alum and former Sooner great left the program kind of high and dry is what it would seem like. And they're going to push that narrative as well. But would he leave OU? I don't know that he wouldn't. And the certain reason, the first reason that I would say that there's a possibility is we've heard that Sherrone Moore was approaching him about the Michigan position that ended up going to the now former assistant, Tony Alford. There's also apparently been overtures from NFL teams as well about him coming on and taking over as their running backs coach as well. Look, there's just no telling it, you could kind of see this coming, right? He's also seemingly at least flirted with the idea of leaving with Jeff Lebby, who took over as head coach at Mississippi State. And some people have said that might have been an offensive coordinator position, although when you view the fact that Lebby made it very clear on day one of getting the job that he would be calling plays, you could almost understand why, even if that is a quote-unquote promotion and a step up in your career, is it? A lot of people are going to look at, if you're not really calling plays, are you truly getting coordinator experience? It's just something there. So maybe that's not as much of a move up. And I also would not completely dismiss that there's a reason why none of the members of the current staff followed Lebby to Starkville. Because of the fact, with everything that went down last year, despite the fact of how really well they performed, the number 3 scoring offense in the country, second straight year in the top 15 in that category, 10-2 in the regular season, all that stuff. There was a lot of things that went on throughout that really kind of pitted Lebby against his alma mater and almost made the divorce, so to speak, not that big a deal for a lot of people. I will tell you this, Jeff Lebby never really said anything to the fans in Norman. And from everything I've heard, his family, dating all the way back to the SMU game and the controversy surrounding his father-in-law and former Baylor head coach Art Briles being down on the field, there was a lot of bad blood there. Had Demarco followed with him, that could have kind of jumped off onto him. And I think the same might have been true for guys like Joe John Finley, who he was the best man in Lebby's wedding, and you almost expected him to follow along and become the offensive coordinator there. He didn't either. So that almost makes you wonder if, that just wasn't really a great idea for any of the guys on this staff. Look, bottom line is there's a lot of smoke out there about other jobs for you to not think that there's at least a flame somewhere. Okay? We know that guys like DeMarco and really, coaches in general, when they're trying to climb the ladder in college football, in pro football, you're going to have to make some tough decisions, and this would definitely be one of those deals. But taking a job at Ohio State wouldn't exactly be the same as following Jeff Lebby and going to Mississippi State. I understand that I think that in general, if Ryan Day was offering him an offensive coordinator position or even a recruiting coordinator, something like that, something that would tell you that this is a promotion, that most Sooner fans would probably be happy for him to get it, right? This just smells like a lateral move in general and not one that he really needs to make, all right? Now, I'm not positive that he is even going to take this position or he's even going to be on this interview, and the Blaylock thing almost feels like it's just a bad timing for him to do it. His recruiting, the way that he's recruited, you got guys, picking up guys like Taylor Tatum, and even these, in-state guys like Xavier Robinson to come in and be part of what is a loaded backfield. Gavin Sawchuk, who established himself as the man. Javante Barnes, who is from DeMarco's hometown of Las Vegas and remains on the staff, even though last year there seemed to be some kind of friction in the locker room between DeMarco and Javante, to go along with clearly some injury issues that were happening for Barnes. Bottom line is you got Khalib Hicks. He had Daylon Smothers in the mix as well. He's gotten commitment after commitment after commitment from high-level running backs, and nobody would be surprised if he picked up one from Torrey Blaylock as well, even though he has one of the deepest rooms in college football, which is kind of flying under the radar here. as far as the media is concerned, but you can bet that Ryan Day and the folks around the country have taken notice of it. They're recruiting a lot of these same guys. Now, in view of the fact that a lot of people said, something that I read on the Bucknuts deal was, he would be taking over, quote unquote, the number one running back room in the country. Pump the brakes there, Bucknut. I'm not sure that I agree with that, first and foremost. But as far as depth is concerned, I wouldn't put any running back room over Oklahoma's. And if there was a number two, I don't know that it's Ohio State. I almost feel like it's Texas, to be quite honest with you. They continue to land running back after running back after running back as well. CJ Baxter and Jadon Blue are not going anywhere and, really kind of filled in nicely once they lost Brooks to injury last season. We're going to find out, and we'll see kind of where that goes. Would DeMarco be able to help that room, as far as, their performances on the field? Maybe. But I almost feel like if what we're hearing about Judkins is that he is a little much, what's the word that I want to use here for him? A little diva-ish, it sounds like. I don't know that would work too well with DeMarco Murray, but that's also a reason that I'm not sure that there isn't a little fire to the smoke that we're hearing too. Look, everybody knows that there's been whispers going all the way back to last year about the way that DeMarco ran the running back room, as far as the rotation that he put into play, the seemingly putting players in his doghouse without really saying anything about it, but you just wouldn't see him on the field. There was even reports of Tawee Walker taking a swing at DeMarco. I guess it would have been the week after the Texas game when he was upset about his playing time and apparently because of the fact that Marcus Majors was getting more playing time than Tawee believed he should have gotten. Whatever caused whatever happened in that locker room that day, Tawee was suspended for a game and kind of seemed like he was in the doghouse. What I will tell you is that we heard at the end of the season, even after he said that he was going to go into the portal, Coach Venables came out and, publicly said that Tawee was welcome back at Oklahoma unequivocally. Now, he obviously got a good offer there to go to Wisconsin. I'm happy for Tawee Walker. But there's a lot of things that have gone on in the last, you can pin a lot of this on a lot of things. But as well as you saw this offense perform at times, there's been a lot of little things that have probably held it back. And there's at least some reason to question whether or not DeMarco and his ability or inability to get along and play well with others had something to do with that. Now, am I pointing fingers here? Absolutely not. Okay. I don't know exactly what happened there. I wasn't in the room. I know what I've heard, and I know that there's been some issues that have been out there, around the program. I also think that a lot of these guys, in DeMarco included, love Coach Venables and want to be a part of his winning staff if he gets this thing turned completely around, as it looks like he may. They all seem to, just recruit on an amazing level. And even though there's always going to be drama at Oklahoma in some form or fashion, but in the end, it still feels like these guys are all pulling in the same direction. It just does. Look, could DeMarco Murray take a position like this? I guess he could. I would probably feel a lot more concerned about it if it wasn't just a lateral movement for him to make. Okay. The last thing that I'll say, the reason why you could point to this being a possibility is the fact that, look, working for Seth Luttrell and working for, say, Chip Kelly / Ryan Day, correctly or incorrectly, probably isn't looked at in the same way. Okay. If you can go and get experience under a guy like Ryan Day, who is considered, similar to like Lincoln Riley, one of the best offensive minds in the country, similar to a guy like Chip Kelly, who is now the offensive coordinator, that can't hurt your career trajectory, can it? Seth Littrell, although we all know that he has proven himself as, in my opinion, certainly a superior offensive coordinator to what Jeff Lebby was. The fact is that his time as a head coach at North Texas, and the fact that you kind of can get lost in the shuffle out there if you take a job like that and then get fired from it, I don't think that his reputation is quite as ballyhooed as what you would say Chip Kelly's is or Ryan Day's is, for sure, right? That could be a reason for him to possibly do that, is that, look, I'm going to get the benefit of the doubt of being taught by some of the best if I go there. I don't know that that necessarily means that again, I don't know that that's enough. I don't know that that's enough either. It's still not a better job. And if anything, if you continue recruiting at the rate that you are and bringing in guys like Taylor Tatum to the mix, the number one running back in the 2024 class, I don't know how you're not going to keep rising the ranks and keep getting opportunities at bigger jobs than the running backs coach at Ohio State University. In the end, the only thing that I would tell you is that while I definitely can understand why people would immediately dismiss this, especially in light of the fact that you don't have a ton of sources corroborating interest or even that there's going to be a interview for this position, you can't really put it past certainly Ohio State to at least take a shot here. And you can definitely understand DeMarco even interviewing just for the sake of interviewing for practice purposes on this stuff. You get better the more times you do things, right? No matter what that is, and interviewing is an art for some of these guys. The more that you get opportunities to do this, the better chances you end up with to get these big jobs later on down the line. The last thing I'll say is, were he to take this job, is it the end of the world for Oklahoma? No, I don't think so. I think that what we've seen is that there's almost a holistic and whole family approach to recruiting, that while you've got certain guys that are obviously the face of a certain recruitment, it almost feels like Brent Venables is in on all of it. He makes his mark on all of it. And a lot of guys throughout the program make their mind on all of it. There's a reason why you didn't see a ton of guys leave with what a lot of people thought was a great offensive guy, that would have taken, Jackson Arnold running off with Jeff Lebby to Starkville, or leaving the program because he didn't trust. Relationships that are being built within this coaching staff run deeper than just the position coach that you're going to be playing for if you come to Norman. I don't know that means a whole lot in terms of whether or not he would or wouldn't take the job, but I feel like you're not seeing a ton of guys leaving this program in the portal unless they've kind of been told, yeah, maybe you should, right? We saw Dylan Gabriel go to Oregon after 2 seasons of playing here, but I think that a lot of that had to do with the fact that he knew that Jackson was going to get the starting position. Probably not a good look for him trying to get into the NFL if he loses his starting job to JFA in the offseason, going into another year that he's committed to play at Oklahoma. Probably a smart move by Deland to go ahead and get up and go, particularly with Lebby leaving as well. Okay. All I'm saying is that it doesn't seem like it's just about the guy that recruits you at Oklahoma as much as it is the entirety of this, what feels like a family within this coaching staff. Sometimes families fight. Sometimes families don't get along great. But DeMarco's still family, and it feels like he should probably stay on this one, even though I could definitely see reasons why he might want to leave. Guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. I certainly would hope that you can hold on to a guy like this. But again, I understand any reason why he would possibly want to do this. There are some reasons why you could see it. Working for Ryan Day, working for Chip Kelly, getting in there, maybe having an opportunity to win a national championship this year. Is it a better opportunity than what you have at Oklahoma? I think most people would say yes. There's some stuff there, but does it outweigh possibly tarnishing your legacy as an Oklahoma Sooner great? I don't know. Would it do that? Tarnish his legacy? To me, it wouldn't. But I know to a lot of people it might. Let me know what you think in the comments anyway. And, look, we'll see kind of how this plays out. And, if anything else comes up that we hear, you can find us on here to talk about it a little bit more afterwards. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you on the next one.